Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wolf, and we are here with Lightfall in the plains as he continues to search for Lucan. And who is this right behind him? This would be Cephus. So Cephus is the father of Drifthowl down here, who is kind of trying to convince Lucan that Lightfall, sorry, I keep saying Lucan because for the past 10 episodes or so, we've been playing with Lucan, but now we are following his basically brother-in-law, the equivalent of Lightfall. So, Cephus has been trying to convince Lightfall to settle down and possibly take his daughter Drifthowl as a mate. Oh goodness, that would be, let's get out of here, there is human nearby. And when I say his, I mean Cephas' daughter. Lightfall does not have puppies as far as we know, but Cephas would like to change that. He would like to see Lightfall take Drifthowl as a mate and have some puppies and settle down, but Lightfall is still pretty determined to find his friend Lucan. And let's check on this deer. We're not overly concerned about... Oh, we should be able to get this deer, yeah. We're not too concerned about overhunting at the moment because these guys are very much transient. They have not settled down just yet. But, Lightfall especially has not settled down. Lightfall is actually trying to follow Lucan's trail, but so far he has not caught up to him yet. And if he can survive a month in the simulation, then we will say that he has managed to catch up to Lucan, and they will probably meet up in Yellowstone, and we may do some side story stuff based off of that, but if not, Lightfall may very well decide to settle down in the plains with Cephus and Drifthowl. And depending on what goes on in the simulation, we shall have to see if something dramatic might change his plans entirely, and of course, if he dies, then that would end his story. And did we pass the deer? I think we passed that sneaky little deer. And there seem to be quite a few cows around. I'm not sure Lightfall likes that. I think he probably kind of tends to... and it looks like we're leaving wolf territory, but I think he kind of doesn't, he's not too fond of the cows because they smell weird, they smell like people, and they don't even run away, they don't act like a normal prey animals should, and yeah, they seem like they could be an easy meal, but he doesn't quite trust them. They just smell a little bit off to him. So far Lightfall has been leaving the cows alone. We'll have to see if that keeps up, and he did try and possibly go after a bison. He was thinking about it, but the bison was definitely too strong for him to take down. And what are these? These appear to be hay bales. These are hay bales. Why are there hay bales? Why are these guys running? Are they chasing that deer? Why are you guys running? What's going on? Am I missing something? Did you see something? I don't know. We'll follow them, though, and just see what they're up to. It looks like they went this way. No, they didn't, but there's a human. A little too close to for comfort. More hay bales. I don't know. I think Lightfall doesn't necessarily like these hay bales. He's gonna claim them, though. He's gonna claim them anyway, though. They are his hay bales now. He doesn't know who put them there, but they are now his. He's not sure what sort of strange creature may have set them there, but he wants to ward it off if he can. And we will go ahead, we'll get something to eat and possibly something to drink depending on how thirsty he is. So it's night and it looks like it's raining as well. But we shall see. Oops, no, I didn't want to bark. His thirst is okay. We'll get some food. It says, wolves have relatively poor frontal vision. They may not be able to recognize members of their own pack beyond 150 to 150 feet. This is possibly one reason why the wolf's mask accents their facial features and ears so greatly. So let's go ahead. It's raining. It's night. He's going to get himself a little something to eat. And we shall see what goes on. Then we'll let him rest for the night. And there aren't humans nearby. I think there are less humans at night. It seems like, oh, who is this? Is this Drifthowl? This is Cephus. Cephus seems to kind of be keeping an eye on Lightfall. Perhaps in a little bit of an overprotective, fatherly sort of way. Kind of just keeping an eye on Lightfall trying to maybe consider if he would be a good option as a mate for Drifthowl, or if Lightfall seems to be well, wolves don't really think about that sort of thing as much in the wild, but for the sake of the story, kind of maybe looking to see if Lightfall seems to be a good character or if he's a little bit shady. Wolves in the wild really don't have that sort of concept. For them, it's not... They don't have concepts of good and evil like we do. For them, they act off instinct, they hunt, they eat, they raise puppies, they try to pass on their genes, and that's what their life is about. It's a lot less complicated than life for humans. So we will let him go ahead and get up. And is this Cephus still? I think this is probably still Cephus. Cephus? Yeah, that's Cephus. We're not going to challenge him because he is quite a bit older than us, and so we're probably, I think Lightfall probably would, try to be kind of respectful towards his elder there. And Lightfall is, you know, Lightfall and Lucan, when they first met, Lightfall was very protective of his sister Cloudsong, and especially after when they were reunited, when she had lost her memory and didn't remember him, and didn't remember Lucan, who she had taken as her mate. But when Lucan kind of showed up out of the blue after having trailed Lightfall for a way, or not Lightfall, Cloudsong for a ways, Lightfall was pretty wary of him, but as time went on, he seemed to get a little bit more used to Lucan, and yes, there is a human nearby. I don't really like that, but we need to get a drink. So, but Lightfall was pretty wary of Lucan at first, didn't really like him, but gradually over time did get more used to him, and eventually came to accept that, okay, Lucan doesn't seem like a very bad guy, and it got to the point where he and Lucan would kind of wrestle around, almost act like brothers, or like old-time friends. Cephus seems to be following us around. But, unfortunately, all of a sudden, tragedy changed that. Because one night, Cloudsong suddenly passed away with no warning or explanation. She must have been sick or something. Oh, and here is Drifthowl, I believe. Yes, Drifthowl. And, it was very, very sudden, and none of them really knew why, and Lightfall took it very hard, but Lucan almost, if it was possible, may have even taken it a little bit harder. Lightfall wanted to kind of stay in the area and mourn, but Lucan couldn't bear it and decided to go home to Yellowstone, where he was born. Wait, why are you running? What's going on? What are you running? Who's this? Drifthowl is running. Why is Drifthowl running? Drifthowl is the youngest in the pack. And her father, Cephus, is a lot older. Cephus is like 7 years, and Lightfall says he is 5, almost 6, I believe it is, but let's just see. But we have decided that he's a little bit younger, more like 3 going on 4, or 4 going on 5, or something like that. About the same age as Lucan, and then Cloudsong was a year younger. But, Lucan took her loss very, very, very hard, and ultimately decided to run away and go back to Yellowstone, and he left without telling Lightfall. So Lightfall just woke up one morning and his friend was just gone. So he's been following Lucan's trail for quite a while, not knowing that it leads back to Lost River, and actually Lightfall and Cloudsong were originally from Lost River, and that is actually where Cloudsong and Lucan met. Lucan came to Lost River and met Cloudsong. Lightfall had been born and raised there from one of those packs, but dispersed a year earlier. So when Cloudsong happened to come across him again after she'd lost her memory and been wandering, and we're going to be careful of that human down there in the corner, he of course he took her in. She's his sister, or she was, and welcomed her back. But then when Lucan showed up, he was very concerned and suspicious. We're gonna go ahead and try and get this beaver because we're a little bit hungry. So that is kind of their story. It's a little bit convoluted. Sometimes the stories are, and it does add a little bit of personification. Oh, there's a caribou. How are these Nope. We gave up chasing that deer too because it came too close to a human, but yeah, so that's kind of their story, and sometimes the stories do get a little convoluted. We do add a lot of extra story, and we do tend to personify the wolves a little bit more than they would be in real life. We put some amount of humanization on them, and kind of add a little bit more emotion, I think. I'm pretty sure, though, wolves do mourn the loss of a packmate, so if a packmate dies, I think they do mourn. They do seem to show sorrow. I know animals do feel some things because I saw my cat actually at one point mourned for her brother when we unfortunately lost him, and she did definitely mourn. But it's not quite the same as when humans deal with death or anything like that. It's different. It's not quite on the same level. It's not to the same extent. They, I think, just recognize the absence. It's hard to know because we don't know exactly what they feel, because they can't tell us. They can't speak to us and tell us what they're feeling, which makes it a little bit hard, but they aren't quite on the same level when it comes to, they're a little bit, they don't function in quite the same ways as humans, if you get what I'm trying to say. It's a little bit different. They don't have quite all the complexity. They're a lot simpler. They do rely a lot more on instinct, and they kind of just do their thing the way instinct guides them. So it's a little bit different. But we add a little bit more of a human level of thought process to them. And speaking of humans, we're going to go this way because there is a human behind us, and we don't really want to deal with that. So, is this Drifthowl? This is Cephus again. Cephus just like sticks to us like glue. Very much your overprotective father, it seems, because he appears to be quite concerned about his daughter Drifthowl. And Drifthowl and Cephus are actually from a pack that was mostly destroyed, possibly in some sort of natural disaster. We really don't know what became of their pack, but they are the only surviving members of it now. And if that happened in real life, I'm not sure if they would stick together or not, but for the sake of the story, we have decided that they do. And, so Cephus, because he's basically too old to have any more puppies himself, is kind of just following his daughter, and she's helping him, he's helping her. He's not too old to hunt or anything, but they're kind of just helping each other out. But as Drifthowl is quite young, she is searching for a mate. So we'll go ahead, we're gonna head back towards the den. I think we also need a little bit of, we need some water, so we'll head back down this way. I just kind of wanted to get a little ways away from the human. Now that we're away, we can head down and get to this water. And there's actually a beaver, but I think we're gonna leave it alone because we're not all that hungry. So we'll let it be. We don't want to totally, oops, I don't want to bark. We don't want to totally overhunt the area. Even though they are just passing through, this is not their home. They're kind of just meandering through on their journeys. Lightfall especially, but even Drifthowl and Cephus. Now, they're considering settling down here. Can we get a drink? There we go, we can get a drink now. Apparently we weren't totally, quote, in the water. So, there we go. But Cephus and Drifthowl are thinking of settling down here, and they do want to settle down here eventually. Lightfall is kind of just resting for a little bit before he continues his journey, whereas Cephus is trying to convince him to settle down here and take Drifthowl as his mate. And we're gonna go ahead, so our goal in this is to actually survive for a month, and the simulation should automatically come to an end when that happens, if we make it to that point, if Lightfall does not die. If Lightfall does not die, we will not revive him, because we have not had too many issues with wolves, or with our wolves dying. I thought we might have more because it's definitely a lot harder to survive in Wolf than it is in Wolf Quest, but we actually haven't had too many issues, so I'm going to say we will start going by the if they die, they stay dead sort of rule. So we're gonna go ahead, we'll eat. Can we eat? Says, how clearly a wolf sees when looking directly at an object is, of course, impossible to know, but it seems evident that beyond a short distance, their vision must be somewhat blurred, rather like that of a photograph taken with a wide-open lens at a slow shutter speed, as opposed to an exposure taken with the smallest lens aperture at a fast speed. So if you're into photography, you probably know what that means. I don't even think I know what that means. I just get that they're saying their vision might be a little bit blurry. Yeah, I'm not really super into photography. I do like taking pictures, but I'm not into it. Oh, and we've apparently finished off this carcass. Oh, I guess we can howl. I keep hitting the wrong button. Well, you know what it is I'm used to, I'm used to Wolf Quest where you use either the arrow keys or WASD to move, and I use WASD to move, but in this W is howl, so I always forget you have to use the mouse. But yeah, interestingly enough, I don't know, what fingering positions do you guys use when you play games? Because I tend to use WASD when it's supported, but I know some people probably tend to prefer the arrow keys. So, what do you guys prefer? This game actually uses mostly the mouse, and then you hit the keyboard for various functions, so like the nose, you use it to lay down and rest, you use it to see. Oh, speaking of seeing, nope. That would be a nope. And we're gonna stop, and this is hay bale. This is hay bales. I don't think he knows what these are, but he's going to claim them and just say, Wolf is here. This is Wolf's territory. Whatever you are, freaky thing, go away. Because remember, animals send a lot of messages through various scents they leave behind, and by peeing on things, that's one way of leaving your scent behind. Oops, no, I put it on autoplay. I always do that, but yeah, for animals, peeing on things is one of the ways you can leave your scent behind, and so I'm gonna quickly switch back. There we go. Now we have autoplay off and we can play normally again. But is it nighttime? Is that what you're telling me? It is nighttime. Okay, so how much? Okay, we're gonna kind of head back down towards the den a little bit, and then we shall rest for the night. But that is a major way of leaving the scent behind, is by peeing on things, and a lot of information can be communicated when wolves or dogs or other animals pee on things. There's a lot of information that goes into that scent, and for how a lot of animals have such good sense of smell, they can actually pick up quite a bit from that. So like, we might not even smell anything, but that's why dogs, when you walk them, tend to want to be sniffing all the fire hydrants and the lampposts and everything they come across, is because somebody else has probably marked territory there, and they are trying to see what messages are contained in the scent, whereas we don't smell anything at all because our noses aren't nearly as sensitive. So that is why dogs and cats and other animals will pee on stuff. It's leaving their scent behind and leaving messages. I had a babysitter who at one point referred to it as pee-mail. But, yeah, there's quite a bit that goes into that. So we'll let Lightfall sleep, but it's almost time for him to wake up. And let's see. So it looks like our pack is pretty close, or they're not entirely so much our pack as they are traveling companions at this point. And usually wolves don't necessarily have traveling companions like this. But, for the sake of the story, again, yes, we will say that is what is happening. And let's go ahead and get a drink. I like this den, it's close to water. Perhaps that would be a factor in deciding whether or not Lightfall wants to stay or continue seeking Lucan, who is also kind of the last connection he has to his sister. Decisions. We shall have to see what he ends up doing. Let's go ahead. Okay, the music is just changing. Even in this, music can indicate a lot, so whenever the music in a game changes, I always get a little bit worried, because sometimes it means bad things are about to happen. And we're just gonna go ahead and get this beaver. And let's see, let's go this way. And there's the beaver. And these guys are really easy to catch. Yeah, look how easy they are to catch. They're so slow, too. The bunnies will tend to bolt, but if you chase them enough, they do eventually slow down. So our vitals are full. There are actually, speaking of, quite a few bunnies around. But I think we shall head back towards our den, and we're actually going to leave off around here for the episode. But we will be back to see more of Lightfall's adventures tomorrow. We just lost somebody. Who's this? Cephus. Cephus is still following us, but Drifthowl has gone off to do her own thing, it seems. But, we shall go on ahead and leave off here for today. We'll see more of Lightfall's adventures probably tomorrow, but until then, I'll see you guys next time. This is Jay, over and out.